This commercial right here cost about $33 million to make. And today we're going to be discussing and breaking down why commercials are so expensive. Stay tuned to the end of the video because I'll be revealing the most expensive commercial I've ever made. First off, I need to clarify that any form of video production is expensive, whether from music videos to documentaries to testimonial videos. Videos are expensive in general, but commercials are usually more expensive for some certain factors because commercials usually have like a lot of scenes, and these scenes usually last on screen for like less than 10 seconds or so. You are cramping up lots of scenes into a 60 seconds video, and when people watch it, they'll be like, oh, this is just a 60 seconds video, why is it costing this much? But we don't take into consideration the amount of effort and the amount of locations and scenes that has been filmed to make this 60 seconds video. Commercial production budgets are usually divided into three parts, and I'll be explaining these three parts for you to see how all this comes together to create these big figures that we usually see. So there is the pre-production, there is the production itself, and we have post-production. So each of these three phases of the production that requires lots of money to make it, and then we're going to be breaking down what entails in each of these parts and how they all come together to make the final budget. Under pre-production, we are paying for recce fees for all the crew members that come in. You're also paying for storyboard if you're going to do storyboard for that commercial. You're also attending a lot of PPNs, pre-production meetings and all. You're engaging the director. You're already going for scouting, location scouting and the rest. Those are all stuff that you're obviously going to start paying for as a client, and this starts to add up to the big budget. Let's go into production itself. This is where the main things happen. Now, you're talking about the director's unit. The director's unit, you have the director and you have the director's assistants, as long as they can be. From production, you might need about 3 to 4 ADs, that's assistant directors, or sometimes you might just need one. For example, on this project I shot for a brand, which we had over about 200 casts on it, we had to use about 3 to 4 ADs for that production. So productions differ depending on what the script is saying at a particular time. Next up, let's go into the producer's unit. Now, the producer's unit is even worse than the director's unit because there are a lot more people involved. You have the line producer, you have the production managers, you might have 3 to 4 line producers, different production managers, depending on what the production entails. You need PAs, and the rest like that. Now talk about the art department. So the art department entails the art director, the production designer, the set constructor. I can keep on listing a lot more of this. This is general art department. You have to pay the art team, you have to pay the set decorators. You're paying a whole chunk of people under the art department. The next thing we're going to talk about now is the camera crew. Now note, this is not the camera equipment. We're talking about the DP, you're talking about the first AC, second AC, the Steadicam operator, the FPV pilot or drone pilot if it's needed for that production, the DIT, digital image technician, in case you don't know what DIT is. There's a whole lot of people to be paid under the camera crew. The lighting crew, we have the gaffers, we have the main gaffer, we have his team, we have the best boy, you have electricians that's going to connect your entire lighting setup. That's a whole bunch of crew to be sorted out. And then the sound crew, you have the sound mixer and the boom operator. You need these guys on set, and they don't come cheap, obviously. Take good consideration of your sound in your next project. It's very, very important. Don't underestimate sound. It makes like 40 to 50% of the film experience. Grips, if you're an indie filmmaker, you might not be using grips for now, but the more project, the bigger project to do, you realize the need for using grips, especially if you're doing like complex rigs. Like for this project I shot for Raimo, we had like several complex rigs to do on this project because of the kind of camera movements we needed. So you're talking about the grip and the team members for the grip. This is not the equipment, this is just the grip team. When you start to deal with bigger equipment, obviously you need grip in general, not even for complex rigs only. You just need grip. We also have other miscellaneous like crew members. You need the BTS photographer, you need the BTS videographer, maybe some other assistants for each of these crew members, and yeah, that's basically making up the crew. equipment now. What equipment are these people going to use on sets? We're talking about the camera accessories. We're talking about the grip equipment. If you need Steadicam, if you need Ronin, there's a whole lot. Like your DP will literally give you a whole bunch of lists of stuff you're going to get, and sometimes usually overwhelming. I think the equipment actually takes a huge chunk of the budget, followed by the crew and the art department. I can't like say a figure to it now because it's largely dependent on the project you're actually doing. The welfare, obviously, if you're keeping people on set for 12 hours in a day, you don't expect them to go outside to sort out their own food. So you have to be able to be willing and be ready to feed the entire crew member for that day, at least 2 to 3 times on set. You have welfare for your crew, you have welfare for your clients. I used to underestimate welfare before, but right now, when you see welfare budgets alone, welfare budgets can actually even shoot like an indie project. It's that serious. Locations. Now, locations might differ. You might want to shoot in the White House, or you might want to shoot in Axel Rock, or whatever. Depending on what your story and script is saying, will determine how big this budget will be. You might have one location for some commercial, you might have 10 locations for another commercial. So you have to get location permits. You have to get filming permits if you are filming in public areas, and all this costs some dollars and naira or whatever currency you use. The production design and wardrobe is basically what will your arts department use to make their work easy. So you have to, if you are going to be building sets, like for example in this project where we had to build a bathroom set, it cost us a whole lot. This other project we had to build like a laboratory, an hospital set, and a presidential podium. That's a lot of cost. I usually try to avoid building as much as I can, but building also can help you keep the crew in one location and avoid moving from place to place. So you and your producer, or if you're a producer, you have to really determine what works best for you. For wardrobe, trust me, you're going to be styling everybody in your sets as much as you can. I try to style everybody, but majorly you want to style your main cast. You want to keep up to the color palette you're trying to make consistent. You want to be able to ensure the quality of the costumes you're wearing. You don't want to come on set that day and see someone wearing something else. So take control of that and style them. Also style your extras as much as you can. Depending on your budget, you might want to style 100 extras. Yeah, if it's possible, why not do it? Now you can imagine how many thousands of dollars you're talking about. Transportation. If you have company moves in between your shoots, company moves mean just moving from one location to another. You need to provide transportation for all your crew members and all your cast members to move from one location to the other location. You need buses, good buses, air-conditioned buses. Yeah. Next thing we talk about is the miscellaneous and travels units. So units basically means you need a place to hold your client or your cast. You need somewhere to be able to hold them down while they're not shooting. Probably when setup is going on or when you're changing setup or whatever, you need somewhere to hold them. So you might either use a tent or you might use a van, depending on your production budget and depending on the kind of person you have on set. If you have Davido or Burna Boy on set, you're not going to put him under a tent. You need to put him in a van with a lot of entertainment. So that takes your budget to another different level. Now, casting, depending on your script also, sometimes the clients usually handle the cast. Probably if they have like a celebrity. If it's not a celebrity, sometimes the production company might handle the cast, or it might be a celebrity and the client wants you to handle the cast. Yeah, get us Davido for this commercial, so you know how much that's going to cost. Yeah, so you need to get like lots of extras. You don't want to be shooting a market scene and you are using people that are already in the market. If their face shows on camera, they can come and sue you to court or whatever for using their image. So you want to place as much extras in where your camera is going to see per time. Depending on the script, you're going to be using different amount of extras. We're going to now talk about post-production. This is another different realm on its own, especially when shoot is done, everyone is celebrating. Hey, it's a wrap, it's a wrap, it's a wrap.
And it's officially a wrap on Ulysses TV.
Oh, work your stuff.
It's a wrap, everybody is shouting.
I didn't work up finish. Work up finish, bro. Work it.
just
For
start.
them, they walk the office.
For them,
You
they
don't
walk
go
the
their
office.
way.
You don't go.
You
You
don't go
their
your
way.
way. And this is a different team. Some of them might be on set, some of them might not have been on set, but it's a different team of people. Now we have offline edits. That basically means like it cuts down the first draft of what you shot, putting together without any VFX, sound design, whatever, and whatnot, for the client to assess before you move on. And that's to be done by an editor, so you have to pay that separately. Then you need to do online edits. That's putting on together the final thing after VFX and be done. That's online edits, has to be done separately. Then you have voiceover, sound design, sound mixing, everything that has to do with sound mixing and mastering of the entire commercial, that has to be accounted for. Then you need to account for your color grading. Yeah, very, very important. A huge chunk of the budget also goes to color grading, depending on the color ratio you're using. I always say this on my YouTube channel. I've gotten up to like £4,000 for color grading a project that was incredibly high. We're getting used to it. Also, you need to talk about the VFX. If you have a lot of effects on your project, you need to hire a VFX artist. Depending on your script also, you might want to do different effects on your production. VFX can literally take half of your budget, depending on what you're doing. Generally, all these things put together, roughly as I've explained, you can imagine why a production will be so expensive. Normally on my set, I usually have a minimum of like 50 people on set while we are shooting. That on the production day, and then talk about the post-production team, and all these people have to be paid, including the director and the producer. That's just a glimpse into why production are this expensive. Yes, I made a promise I was going to say how much the Hertz commercial I've shot is. The commercial is not out, so I can't tell you what commercial it is, but the Hertz production budget we've actually been able to shoot was about, drum roll, $70,000. Yeah, that's in dollars. And yeah, it was worth it because it included a lot of travels and a lot of production days. See you guys on the next video. I hope you learned one or two things from this video. Peace out.